Welcome to another exciting episode of Leading Our Adventures, your venturing podcast. Thank you for joining. I'm your host, Hannah Todd, and I currently serve as the National Vice President of Program for the NVOA. Today we have a very special guest joining us. So someone who has been, for the last 6 months, a beacon of leadership and inspiration within the Order of the Arrow, which is Scouting America's National Honor Society. We are thrilled to have with us the National Order of the Arrow Vice Chief, John Andrew. As National Vice Chief, John Andrew plays a pivotal role in guiding and supporting thousands of Arrowmen across the country. His dedication, service, and leadership to the Scouting principles is truly commendable. Welcome, John Andrew. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi, Hannah. Thanks so much for having me here. It's truly an honor to be on the Venturing podcast here in May.
Thank you for being here. And I was looking through your scouting resume, and I know we've talked about it before, but I was reminded you've been in venturing too.
That's right. Actually, you may be able to see right here, but I'm a Summit Award recipient. And so throughout all of my time in the scouting movement, I've been a part of a Sea Scout ship, a venturing crew, and I also earned my Eagle Scout rank out of Troop 41 in Lexington, Kentucky. So if I can't say scouting is my bread and butter by now, I don't really know what is. And obviously, as you can tell, the Order of the Arrow has been a big part of my journey.
Very cool. Do you want to tell us a little more about your scouting journey? You've been around the block in your lodge and in a ship and a crew, all of the above kind of thing. What kind of got you into it and what keeps you around?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if I were to answer that question maybe 5 years ago, I would tell you that I joined scouting because an adult leader came to my elementary school. He pulled everyone in the classroom over to the cafeteria and gave us this blue and gold flyer that had pictures of BB guns and archery shooting and slingshots, and I was hooked. Now, when I first camp out of the Cub Scout, all the way up until now, when I'm going to be staying for a week in campus dorm rooms at the National Order of the Arrow Conference this summer, outdoor adventure has been a huge part of my program and my experience in the scouting. You know, that may have been how I started, but there have been so many different things along the way. I mentioned I started as a Cub Scout. I earned my Arrow of Light Award and then crossed over into what was then Scouts BSA and was my patrol's very first patrol leader, something that I am incredibly proud of. I loved being able to plan my patrol's first campouts and eventually, you know, be elected into the Order of the Arrow so that I could meet similar like-minded and honor campers around my council.
It sounds like leadership started very early for you as that first patrol leader. What was your patrol name?
We were the Honey Badgers.
Oh, that's really cool. Did you stay the Honey Badgers all the way through?
That's right. We were the Honey Badgers. We were the patrol after the Falcons. And there were about 15 of us. It narrowed down to 8 after the first year. And since then, those are some of the friends that I'm going to be keeping with me for life. Just as close as those who I went through my ordeal with and those that were in my vigil class of 2022.
Very cool. Very cool. And what has inspired you to continue putting in time, putting in that leadership? Did you ever serve in leadership positions in your crew? I guess that's 2 questions. So why do you stay in leadership? And then did you ever serve in your crew?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you asked me about the beginning of my journey, and that was mostly through Scouts BSA. I spent many years in leadership in my crew. I was my crew's vice president of administration, which was kind of exactly what I loved to do. I pulled up the spreadsheets, had everyone's advancement, and was trying to make sure that our crew meetings were the most applicable to the most people in our crew. So I would ask the council VOA to come in and do the mentoring training 1 week, and then we'd start planning our annual picnic the next. And so, you know, being able to, you know, logically think through, okay, this person needs this many more service hours and they have this much time left. We should probably do a service project with the church in 3 months. Who can I figure out to help organize that? And then just going step by step by step there, I absolutely loved being vice president of administration. And then to your first question, you asked me about, what kept me involved in scouting. And while camping may have been the thing that got me involved, what kept me involved was absolutely the people. I've loved every step of the way being able to work with your little cohorts, whether they're called patrols or whether they're called crews or whether they're called your lodge. These people that you meet in the scouting movement are going to be friends for life. And that's something that I hold very, very deeply. I know that, the friends that I've met and the friends that I will meet will probably be because we have this shared interest in these same values, the Scout Oath and the Scout Law, that guide us through not only the scouting program, but through life. Hannah, I remember meeting you back in 2020 virtually, and now here we are 4 years later at the national level of the scouting movement on a podcast. It's kind of crazy how small this world is.
It definitely is. I remember chatting with you a little bit after your election, going, wait a second, I know you. We talked a lot during the pandemic when kind of scouting meetings were held virtually, and we were comparing crews, we were comparing ship experiences and lodge experiences, and we saw one another for the first time in person at Jamboree, and we were both like, wait a second, I know you.
Yeah.
It took me a minute. I was kind of locked in, and you were like, oh, Baloo. Baloo's the name I go by in online and other things like that. Like the bear from Jungle Book. But definitely, it's been a full circle.
You were always Baloo to me, and I've always been just J.A.
Yep, just 2 letters, J.A. And then I'm Baloo. So, but it works now. And one of the things that I have really enjoyed about going through all these programs, maybe you have also experienced this, is how they complement one another, but their missions are different. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah. As I mentioned, the Scout Oath and Law are extremely huge in every aspect of Scouting America's program. Not only is it some of those foundational things that the framers of our organization started with, they continue with us every single bit of every day. I'd like to kind of focus in a little bit on part of that question to kind of how the Order of the Arrow plays a part in the rest of the scouting movement here in the U.S. The venturing program and the OA program are so complementary. On one hand, you can kind of see them as older youth programs for Scouting America, but additionally, the Order of the Arrow as Scouting's National Honor Society kind of really is that intermediary and constant continuous presence that keeps and retains people in the program. Not only are we do we have members from both troops, crews, ships, and posts, our members are also members of their lodge, so they get that additional community space and that additional place to connect with other people in the movement just by being a member of the Order of the Arrow. Excuse me, that pizza from a little bit earlier, I can taste it in the back of my throat. Yeah. The Order of the Arrow also, as Scouting's National Honor Society, is keenly focused on being able to support Scouting America's programs. So for venturing specifically, I talked about how both of our programs, they terminate youth membership or adult program participant membership at age 21. That gives us a lot of overlap with the types of leaders that we're able to develop. And being able to be in venturing and the Order of the Arrow at the same time kind of really is just that magic sauce that you can create through your involvement in Scouting America. Not only do you get the leadership experience and the communities, you also get the ideas of the ALPS model, the service, the leadership, and the personal growth.
I love it. I think there's sometimes a stigma or maybe some competition between VOAs at a council level and the lodge. But the great thing is, I think that stigma should go away because we're all here working together, giving leadership opportunities to youth. And it's a great opportunity to both work together, build our leadership skills, build on the ELS model. And I've also interacted with a few people a few venturers over the last year that didn't know that they can be in the Order of the Arrow. As venturers, if they just came in, maybe they're in second class and then they decided that a venturing crew was for them. They didn't know that they were eligible. I didn't know that this was something and that you can foster. Can you tell me more about, if I'm a venturer, maybe I just came in, how to get elected?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As I said, OA membership is not just for people in a tan uniform. I mean, we're maybe wearing one right now. That's just because my primary registration is with my district. But, you know, there are requirements and there are eligibility, and you can join the OA from any of scouting's unit level organizations. But for venturing specifically, you have to be a registered venturer. You have to be younger than 21. You have to have experienced 15 nights of scout camping within the past 2 years of your election date. One of those has to be at least a 5-day long-term camp. And then you have to also hold the Venturing Discovery Award, be approved by your unit leader, and be elected by a majority of the youth present at your crew's annual elections. As the standard process for any youth election eligibility throughout the scouting program, just instead of being first class or being apprentice rank, you have to have the Discovery Award. Now, there's a separate term of conditions for adults to be nominated by the unit leader, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, we'll stay on the youth side kind of thing. I've experienced the chapter coming to my crew meetings, and it kind of plays out the same as it does in my Scouts BSA troop. It's very exciting, although OA is kind of new to the venturing program. 2018, am I getting dates right? 2018 is when
2019, yeah.
It was when venturers kind of were able to go through the election process, go through the ordeals, and stuff like that. I remember being really new to the scouting program, doing lifeguard training at my council camp in the pool, and watching the first group of venturers go through in 2018. And that was a very inspiring moment. They didn't know that I was watching, but I was definitely watching. That was a very cool experience. Are OA events different than your venturing crew experiences?
Well, I guess the answer to that depends on just who the people are that run them. So, when I'm putting together an event for my crew, that could look something like a service project or camping out at the Red River Gorge, which is our local nature preserve near where I live, or maybe going or planning our Tier 3 adventure off at Black Mountain Scout Ranch in, I think, South Dakota. We planned that 2 years in a row. We had to cancel the first time because of COVID. But with the venturing crew, you have so much flexibility because you have your small cohort of people that you're able to kind of do whatever you can imagine. With the Order of the Arrow, you're doing similar things. You're also doing service projects, whether that's through your ordeal or you're serving as an Alengamat, which are two of the introductory roles that people can take in the Order of the Arrow. Or you're attending a service day and giving back through your time and your labor to the council camp or to any community service areas. Other non-service related events, the OA can look like Order of the Arrow fellowships, which most lodges will have one in the fall, maybe one in the summer, and then one in the spring. And these fellowships can have a service element, but they are really just to create those bonds of brotherhood between everybody in the scouting movement that attends these events. They're typically really fun. I remember at my first fall fellowship, I entered a Magic the Gathering tournament and won a deck of cards, and that was one of the coolest moments for me. Magic the Gathering, another thing that I played with my venturing crew, once a month on our game nights. So I'd say if you're looking to find a difference between the two programs, there's obviously going to be differences, but there's going to be so many similarities as well.
Right. I've talked to a few crew advisors who are kind of hesitant for the OA, and you can tell me if this is true in your experience as well. In my experience, if they get involved with the OA, like a youth participant or adult program participant, they get more involved in the unit, and or they go through the ordeal and they're like, oh, look, more leadership opportunities, which makes them an even better leader when they come back to the crew. And if they're involved in the crew, then they get leadership experience, and then they run for a vice chief position in the lodge. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship going on.
Yeah, I can really only corroborate that. I wouldn't have been such a good, well, in my opinion, such a good crew vice president of administration if I hadn't learned, my spreadsheet formulas and sending out professional emails and stuff that I did in the OA. So those skills definitely complement each other, whether they are, Microsoft Office focused or, specific leadership or event planning. They really do complement each other.
Definitely. I served here recently as the vice chief of administration in my lodge, and I could say the same thing about my experience as being crew president. Like, I wouldn't have been as good of a vice chief of administration if not for that experience. So great things to talk about as we kind of transition a little bit into your role as national chief. You've held a significant leadership position. It's been about 6 months at this point.
Yeah, I started at the end of December, and now here we are coming up at the end of May.
Awesome. Could you share some of the most rewarding aspects of your role so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that may be tuning into this podcast that don't know, there's a new set of National Order of the Arrow officers that are elected at the OA's National Planning Meeting, which takes place at the end of December every year. Now, while the date may change, the National Planning Meeting is the opportunity for all 43 section chiefs across our 250 odd councils to come together and elect the national officers and then plan the program of emphasis for the following year. Now, that's pretty easy this year because I can just tell you that what we're doing in July, yes, the National Order of the Arrow Conference, or NOAC, as many scouters commonly refer to it. So being elected to the office of National Vice Chief at the beginning of the planning meeting by my peers, first of all, is an incredibly rigorous process. Not only do you have to be a section chief to run, but you really you show the testament of time and dedication and commitment to the organization, because the people that we elect are going to be the face and the youth face of Scouting America, our whole organization, not only to people inside the organization, but facing externally as well. It was kind of weird after my election being able to Google search my name and that be me on the first results. It comes with a lot of responsibility. Think about drinking from a fire hose of culture and creativity and compassion from all the different people that help make it a success. I've been able to experience Scouting America program from a crew and from my OA election to 5 straight weekends of conclaves. This year has been absolutely incredible. I really can't even believe it's been 6 months, that it's halfway over. My heart lurched when you said that a couple of minutes ago. As I mentioned, not only do I attend so many different OA and scouting events throughout the year, on the weekends, I'm a full-time student at college too. So that means I kind of have to juggle 2 full-time jobs. Not only am I trying to keep my grades up and make sure that I'm being present and active in my education, I also need to do what I committed to for the Order of the Arrow and for Scouting America. I need to make sure that my responsibilities for NOAC, my leadership capacity, ability, and the things that I said that I wanted to do as a national officer, that they do get completed. And so finding that balance is definitely really, really important. And that's something that is probably the biggest part of this role. I remember, training at the National Leadership Seminar, both before and during my term as National Vice Chief, was one of the most pivotal experiences I think any youth in our organization can have. All you have to do is be an airman, and you can attend the National Leadership Seminar near you. Both of our 2 regions run that program to kind of give you this flexible toolkit of ways that you can lead through a values-based narrative. And so not only was I able to learn presentation skills, I also learned working with small groups, learning people's names really, really quickly. And of course, that adaptive model of leadership that they teach. I get to make friends across the country. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention all the patches that I get to see. So many cool designs, so many sets, and I know there's going to be a whole lot more at NOAC. That's one of my favorite parts to do, sit down and trade patches.
I love it. I love it. See, even with NLS, there's opportunities for ventures to build on their leadership skills, and I'm glad that that's a rewarding part of that. And I'm sure going through nothing worth doing is ever easy. And I'm sure that there's been challenges along with your successes, along with the rewarding parts. Could you tell us about a pivotal moment that has shaped your leadership path? Maybe something that was challenging. I don't know. What do you want to share? Kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, where to start? What has shaped my leadership path? What's been challenging? I can think of so many different things. I think I'll start with a lesson though. What I've learned from so many of my, different experiences and challenges and trials throughout my time as the National Vice Chief has honestly just really taught me to be brave. Coming into this position and working with my peers, working with adults, and working with people who may not live in the same state as me, people who may not even live within 2 time zones as me. I've had to, overcome challenges as well. And then there's the social aspect of that as well. You can really easily feel like maybe you're not cut out for what you think you are, or what you got put into. Maybe you feel like you're in over your head, or you feel like you can't trust yourself to make the decisions that someone else trusted you to do. I know it would not be for my experiences in scouting that I would not have learned the idea to just be my true, authentic self. Being able to come into, who I believe I am, this values-based leadership by living the Scout Oath and Scout Law, I've been able to learn why it is important to just be who you are. I have, and it was through these experiences and the friendships that I've made that, really made me feel comfortable coming out as gay. And that was an incredibly important part of my life journey that wouldn't have been possible if not for all of the, different supportive hands and minds that have surrounded me. Scouting really allows you to open yourself up to be who you want. Maybe you're afraid of the dark. Maybe you still wet the bed at night, but there are so many different people that may have that same experience. And, trying to keep that or not admit things to yourself isn't the way or the things that scouting teaches. Being your true authentic self is the most rewarding thing that anyone can glean out of any of this.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing. How do you maintain a balance between well-being and fulfilling your duties and all the other stuff that happens when you're a college student, kind of thing?
Well, I alluded to this before, but you kind of have to live a couple of different lives. Not only am I, I kind of belong to the organization, I belong to myself as well. Balancing keeping that 4.0 GPA and also running a national conference at the end of the summer. And additionally, keeping in mind that I need to take time for myself to make well-being the forefront of all of those things. I can tell you there's no real secret ingredient that I can add. There's a lot of things that, really come together to make that experience possible. I'll say, number one, you just have to have a lot of discipline. Being able to discipline yourself in your time, in the things that you do, in the quality that you do them. I've learned that getting things really good instead of perfect is sometimes all that you need. Perfectionism can while it is great in theory, can be something that pulls you down or maybe sets you off balance because it could be perfect. It's not really realistic, and people don't have that expectation for you that you may have for yourself. I love my Google Calendar. I have it color coded off of coolers.io. I keep my to-do list on Todoist, which automatically adds things to my calendar. And then whenever someone wants to have a meeting with me, they fill out a different service that schedules something. And so, also bringing in technology and all these services has really helped me manage my time and make sure that I'm being as efficient and careful with it as possible. That being said, I still managed to finish 3 seasons of The West Wing this semester and finish 3 books as well. So it's definitely possible.
I mean, if you can see it, you can be it. There you go.
Right.
I started talking, but if you didn't hear it, he said, if he can do it, you can do it too. I definitely think that's a great message. And I also can confirm that I filled out that calendar form in order to get Johnny Andrews time this evening. So that was a cool experience and definitely something that you might consider if you're very busy. A lot of people in the scouting movement are very passionate about outdoor activities and adventure, kind of as we've touched on. How does the OA incorporate that outdoor experience into its program? And do you have any memorable outdoor adventures that you've had as a member?
Well, the low-hanging fruit there is obviously OAHA, or the Order of the Arrows High Adventure Program. A good friend of mine, Ryan King, is the committee member that oversees this program. And basically, if you don't know, OAHA is an Order of the Arrow program at each of the high adventure bases that allows you to register individually on the OA website to go and experience some of what the OA has to offer at each of the high adventure bases. You don't have to sign up with your crew or plan it 2 years in advance. You can sign up the January before the summer. If there's still spaces available, it goes quick, but you can go there and you can register to go on OA Canadian Odyssey or Wilderness Voyage up at Northern Tier. You can do OA Trail Crew down at Philmont. You can do the OA Summit Experience if you are 17 or younger at obviously the Summit, and then you can do OA High Adventure at Florida Sea Base once the program comes back online. Currently the program is paused, but it gives you a week to 2 week experience no matter where you go to make sure that you get that outdoor adventure experience with people that you don't know. So you automatically get a new group of friends, a new set of experiences, and some of the best memories that I think I have to date.
I love it. Shameless plug, if you want to learn more about the high adventure bases and what they offer, go to episode 2 way back in December, I think, and we talk about each of the high adventure bases and what they offer, just in case you want to know the where of all the things John Andrew was saying.
Oh yeah, but one of the best parts of OAHA is that it allows you to reach people outside your 5-mile radius, right, for your unit. When a winter event, as a council service corps, plan a winter camp for yourself. The Order of the Arrow gives you so much flexibility, whether you want to do a high adventure or work with your lodge to make something happen for the entire council. Nothing's outside the range of possibilities.
There you go. Any adventure going on for you, John Andrew, this summer in that way? I'm sure there is, but that's a silly question. But
every day is an adventure. I do plan on going to Northern Tier earlier in July, and then also being a guest foreman at the OA's program at the summit. I'm also going to go see Taylor Swift in Europe, and then go to NOAC obviously at the end of July. So I've got quite the packed summer.
All the things all in one summer. Your summer might be more busy than mine. I don't know. But that all those things sound very exciting. If you ever get an opportunity to do Northern Tier in the winter, that's a great experience that I never thought I would be recommending. But here we are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that this question is very actable. You've been asked this a million times, but just in case, kind of as we're wrapping up, as a Venture Scout considering joining the OA, what are some steps they can take in order to learn about the organization, maybe its opportunities, because this could be the first time that they find out that ventures can be an OA. How can they take this conversation to the next level?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And I just be the first to say that we want to empower you. Not only can you join NOAC today as a remote delegate, if you want to get involved with the OA program, all you have to do is check out our website, oa-bsa.org. That will really have the full list of what the OA has to offer. It'll tell you about OAHA, which I talked about earlier, what membership in the OA looks like and how to become a member, or how that unit election will work. If you're a member of the OA already, it'll tell you about our inductions process. It'll tell you about our leadership. You'll see my face and my bio there if you click down far enough. But if you're hesitant about joining the OA or really don't know a whole lot, honestly, just reach out to me. My email is 2024vicechief@oa-bsa.org. If you love the venturing program, I know that you'll find a home in the OA right away. Looks like it's right down here at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, look at that. I love when things appear like that. Very cool. Awesome. I can only echo what you say. If you like the venturing, you'll probably love the OA. And how does the final question before we go into kind of our closing is, how does the OA support and complement the goals and objectives of venturing? Particularly in terms of, because we've talked about adventure, we've talked about leadership. Maybe on this case, talk more about our self-discovery, the personal development aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, like how our programs are so compatible. Being in one almost pushes you to be active in the other. They go along so well. Great companions. That was the word I was looking for. I'd say that the OA, in terms of personal development and self-discovery, I think one of the biggest things I think about it is as OA or as Scouting's biggest training program. Yes, we do have the National Leadership Seminar and your Lodge Leadership Development, two kind of little weekend-long events that can teach you seminar style how to be a leader. But what the OA is fundamentally is it is a safe space to learn. It's a safe space to fail. You can learn how to run this massive enterprise. The Order of the Arrow is rife with leadership positions. Being a chapter chief will test you and challenge you. Working closely with an adult advisor, not only do you learn how to run an integral piece of a massive enterprise, you're always finding out your preferences on how to send an email or do what you like, whether that's working on graphic designs or planning events. It helps you find what you're strongest at. The OA takes talent and potential every young member has to offer and enhances it and widens it so that you are able to see a whole other world outside of your high school or the cross-country team that will benefit you for the rest of your life. The OA in Scouting America has changed my life, and it continues to do so.
Love it. I do have a burning question, though. Have you ever played the trombone at a scouting event? Because I know you play the trombone, right?
Yes. So there was this one time I did. I don't know how you knew, but we didn't have a bugler to play taps at one of my first lodge events. I think I was the ordeal master at that time. And I had my trombone case for my marching band competition in the back of my car. So my mom unlocked it for me, and I played it in first position the entire time. I woke everyone up with my trombone playing.
I love it. I did look at your bio before, and I meant to ask the question at the beginning, but forgot and wanted to. It was a burning question that I wanted to ask you. So that's how I knew about that little fun fact. But now I know you have. Anything else you'd like to say before the official closing?
I just want to, reiterate my gratitude for you and for the venturing program for having me on tonight. And it's been absolutely incredible. I love being able to chat with you, whether we're on a recorded Zoom session or we're attending an event together. I think that, you really do embody what the venturing program, tries to perpetuate in every single one of our youth members. And so I thank you for being one of our strong and fearless leaders, Hannah. And I hope to see you again soon.
I'll look forward to it. The scouting circle comes around. Thank you so much for being a part of my scouting journey, our scouting journey, talking about the OA, and being such an amazing leader for our fellow airmen and the Scouting America program. Thank you so much, everyone. Now we're doing thank yous, but thank you for joining us today and sharing your experiences. Thank you for everyone for commenting down below and telling us about your experiences in the OA. Until next time, keep striving for excellence and making a difference in your communities. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Venturing Podcast, Leading Our Adventures. If you would like to join a crew, don't forget to go to bsscout.org and put in your zip code. That way you can find your closest crew to you. We'll catch you on the next adventure. And until next time, stay adventurous and keep leading the way. Bye, everybody.